Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Adeptus On-Air. I am your host, Mike Hoffman, and today I am joined by Mario Butler. Mario, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. I appreciate you coming on. So Mario is a graduate of Clark Atlantic University with a degree in radio, TV, film production, a former football player, certified scuba diver, motorcycle racer, owner of Progressive Counseling, which is a mental health therapy clinic, author of Hard Wallet Organizer, and now the founder of Dreamster, which is a Web3 music platform and crypto ecosystem. Did I get that right?
Yes, indeed. Man, that was excellent.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go through all of it because obviously a lot to touch on there. So let's start with the outliers. Where'd you play football?
I played football at University of Memphis in college, and then I played the last 2 years at Clark Atlantic University.
Nice.
So had a couple of things happen, during my time at University of Memphis, and I transferred. My son was born. Mm-hmm. I had a son at an early age, and decided to come back home to Atlanta, and
What position did you play?
I played defensive back. Back then, we had to choose a position, but I was really, an athlete position. I was a punt return, kick return.
Yeah.
Could have played, wide receiver and all that good stuff, but really athlete position. But I chose to go with defensive back, and they kind of moved me around a strong safety and all that good stuff. But, yeah.
It's funny, that never existed, or didn't seem like it existed 10 years ago, and I follow a lot of the college recruiting stuff, and then when you say what position you're recruiting, and it comes up athlete. Well, everyone's an athlete,
exactly.
But yeah, I think it's just like a diverse where this guy can kind of play, as needed, where needed, so...
Exactly. Yeah, I get down there and play. I play center or nose tackle. It doesn't matter to me. As long as I can help the team win. Yeah.
But I would think playing at Memphis, which is a D1 school,
Yep.
I would think your size. Obviously, I'm only seeing you on a screen, but to play D-back and then saying to play center, usually those are two very different body types.
Yeah, man. Wherever I could, wherever I can help the team win.
Yeah.
That was my attitude.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you studied radio, TV, film. What was your? Obviously, you're not too far out of college, but what was your dream?
Yeah.
Like, what was your when you were studying that? Like, in a perfect world, where did you want your career to take you?
All right. So I got to keep it all the way 100. So once I transferred to Clark Atlanta, of course, in college when you get past a certain year of study, they tell you, okay, it's time for you to choose a major.
Sure.
And so, I was sitting when I was transferring to the school, I was sitting in the administration office with another guy who was just coming into school, and they was asking us both. They was like, hey, man, okay, you have to choose a major now.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, I said, man, what are you doing? What are you majoring in? And this guy was like, man, he's like, man, I don't know, man, but my athlete, but I'm doing something like, fun and, that's going to, help me get through it. And he's like, man, I'm doing radio, TV, and film. I was like, man, you know what? I said, man, I grew up around music. I want to do that too. So, I mean, when I was at University of Memphis, my major was sports therapy.
Okay.
But when I got to Clark Atlanta, I was like, you know what? Let me see what's going on. I never knew that was an option to choose as a major. So I was like, let me do mass media arts, radio, TV, and film.
So if the guy sitting next to you was pre-med, you'd be a doctor right now.
Man, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I was, we had a good time, and that's still my buddy to this day. We laugh about it all the time. And but yeah, man, I chose mass media arts, radio, TV, film production. Yep.
Yeah. So all right. So when did you graduate college? What year?
I came out a long time ago, man. 2004, 20 years ago.
Okay, not as long as me, but
Yeah.
still okay, a long time ago. All right, and then walk me through the progression at that point in time in your career, because obviously your two big things after that are again two very distinct things. You know, the progressive counseling, center, and then now Dreamster. So let's start with the the counseling facility.
Yeah, so I'll dial it back a little bit. So right after college, I actually had an internship at a news station here in Atlanta, WBS Channel 46, and that was one of the news stations. And I had an internship. I was able to, go in the production studio and work the news station and set up everything for production, get everything ready for the set. And I did that. I did that for about 4 months, and they actually offered me a job. And I said, you know what? They gave me the contract, sent me the agreement, and I looked at the numbers. I said, man, I don't know if I could do that. The numbers were quite low, but I had just finished school, and I was still interested in playing football.
Yeah.
And I had a football agent at the time, and I didn't try for the NFL draft just because of our football team. We didn't win a lot of games. I was like, you know what? I don't want to stop going to school to try for the NFL draft. I said, let me go ahead and finish and get my degree. So I finished and got my degree, and I actually had an opportunity to work out for Arena Football League team. And I did a private workout, and I had both contracts. I had the contract to work for the news station, and then I had the contract to play for the Arena Football League. And of course, I took the Arena Football League contract, and I was able to play my first year down in Texas, down in Hidalgo, Texas, for Rio Grande Valley. So I played there my first year. I got released after training camp. And so I left training camp, and then I came back to Atlanta, and I trained for a little bit. Then I got picked up by another team, which was in Ohio, which was Mahoney Valley. That was in Youngstown, Ohio. So I played in Youngstown, Ohio Arena League for 2 years.
Okay.
And after that, I was still going to school, and I went back and got my master's degree in healthcare management. And so while I was playing arena ball, a lot of guys were like, man, like, come hang out with us, come do this. I said, nah, man. I got it. I was doing the master's degree program online, and this was back in 2006, 2007. And when it went online, school was still fairly new. And I was like, man, I got to do work. And so they would always see me on the computer doing work, and I'm like, yeah, man, you got to get it done. And so I'm back to school, got my master's degree in business with a concentration in healthcare management. And then I played my last season of football in Ohio. I left there, and I went to try out for another team down in Florida, and I had a strain in my lower back, and I was doing the training camp, and I remember doing practice. I couldn't even go half of the practice.
Wow.
And the coach was like, man, you okay? I said, nah, man, my lower back. So I was sitting on the sideline. And I said, I think it's time for me to kind of hang it up. At the time, I was like 29 years old.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to hang it up, but, my body was talking to me.
For football, 29, you're getting to be on the older side.
Yeah, a little bit. Even I'm 43 today, and I still think I feel like I still can go at least 2 quarters.
All right. Listen, arena football is a lot of fun to watch. It's a pretty action-packed game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. So then, all right. So now you're done. You're done with football.
Done with football. Got back to Atlanta. Networked with a couple of people here in Atlanta. Started doing some training and sitting with different people to run different businesses here in Atlanta. And then I was able to get with some of my colleagues and learn the business of and mental health. I was able to learn the ins and outs of what it is, to work in mental health. I was actually looking to go into the hospital first. I was going to work in the hospital for, some type of admin executive position.
Yeah.
But mental health called me first. And And once I learned about the business of mental health, I said, man, this is what I need to be doing because this is something that we actually went through growing up in Atlanta. We suffered from a lot of mental health issues, but we took it upon ourselves to kind of self-medicate and self-cope. And so that was a business that I decided to jump into, and
Okay.
yeah, it ended up,
Yeah, mental health. I
starting.
mean, if you think about, I don't want to get into like a full philosophical discussion, but it's amazing, and maybe it's social media now, whatever. It seems like it is so much more on the forefront, at least when I can remember, 10, 15 years ago. I mean, back then it was, I think it really had a stigma to it, and it still does now to an extent, but it really had a stigma of weakness, things like that, where you had no problem telling someone you had, a broken leg or a thyroid condition or something like that. But you would never tell someone you had anxiety or, ADHD or something like that. And nowadays it seems like people are much more willing to share it and not be ashamed of it. You agree with that? Or?
Right. No, I definitely agree. And even as kids, man, we joked around. We joked around with other kids like, hey, man, there was a company back then called Charter. And it's like, man, you're going to end up at Charter. We used to kind of tease other kids. And it was, it wasn't talked about in the family. It wasn't talked about in schools. Like, hey, man, maybe you should talk to a therapist. None of that stuff was spoken about. And so now it has become more of the norm. And we hear, hey, man, it's okay to talk to a therapist. It's okay to have someone to open up to. So yeah. And for us as a mental health clinic, we try to promote that. We try to let people know, like, hey, don't be afraid to to have someone to talk to. Don't be afraid to go seek out and have you a clinical therapist to just to be on your side every day. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a matter. I think, I know a lot of people who, go to counseling for a variety of reasons. And, some of them, from what I gather, aren't even going because of anything. They just want to have a sounding board, just to kind of have that safe space where they can kind of go and just talk to someone, with no judgment, no quote unquote repercussions of what they're going to say, and just be able to kind of unload a little bit.
Exactly. I learned a lot, even just working in mental health. I learned a lot just from, working with the clinicians that worked at our clinic, just sitting in the meetings, listening to them in their team meetings and the treatment team meetings. And I would actually apply a lot of that stuff to my life. I would listen to other cases and everything, and I would sit there like, you know what? Note taking. Let me apply that to myself, and me and my buddies, I had some of my other buddies that played football, they worked as paraprofessionals in the industry, and we all loved, even in the beginning, we all loved what we were learning, and it helped us mature, helped us grow up. And of course now we spread the word. Like, hey, man, definitely seek counseling, definitely seek therapy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to open up, especially to someone that you feel comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay, so as you've done in your entire career, while you're have a mental health care facility, you founded another company called Dreamster, which I see on your hat right now. So Dreamster, from what I said before, is a Web3 music platform and crypto ecosystem. So I think most people know what a Web3 music platform is, but talk about that a little bit, but also get into what you mean by crypto ecosystem.
Yeah. So I actually got involved in crypto and blockchain back in 2016, and I learned about Ethereum, which was as a decentralized. And when I say decentralized, a company, the opposite of a centralized company that is controlled by one particular entity, or that is controlled by one government, one centralized government that controls and dictates everything. But I learned about Ethereum first, and I was very intrigued about the technology. So I decided to do a little bit more research, and I learned about what Bitcoin was, and what what solutions Bitcoin was actually solving. And so got involved, did more research, and I ended up. At the time I was actually in China in 2017, and 2016 to 2017, and I decided to. Me and my buddy, we were looking at different ways to do crowdfunding, and
Sure.
Ethereum they had a platform which was called the ICO process, and that stood for initial coin offering. So we decided to do more research and see how we could leverage this ICO in order to start another company that we were interested in, building back in 2016, 2017. Did our research, and I was like, man, this technology is very expensive. We need to actually sit down. We need to learn more about what cryptography is, what encryption is. And so in short, a lot of people don't understand, what cryptocurrency is. That is short for cryptography. And, that's where you can send digital currency or digital assets over encrypted networks. And so I did more research. And as I jumped into this rabbit hole, I had to learn what blockchain was.
Yep.
So the blockchain is the foundation of how everything in the crypto world happens. Jumped into that world, and of course, at first I was like, you know what, we can leverage the crowdfunding platform. But when I jumped into the world, then I saw that there were other companies that were building massive products and massive projects. And so I started to learn more about these projects, more about their ecosystem. Excuse me, did a little bit of investing into, what they were doing, investing such as investing my time, investing in some of their learning academies, investing in just spending time in the communities. And then I also invested a little bit of funds. And so the little bit of funds that I did invest back in 2017, they generated, some pretty substantial revenue.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let me join and stay a part of these different communities.
Yeah.
So one company in particular that I joined was Dragon Chain. So Dragon Chain was a company that was built and it was a Walt Disney blockchain, and got really really close with that particular company and learned their ecosystem, and just started networking with everybody in the industry. Set up me a profile on LinkedIn, and that's when my network just tremendously expanded.
Sure.
Yep, and got involved, and I said, you know what? Just from my experience in Atlanta, my brother owned a music company in Atlanta from 2004 to shoot, he's still in the music industry to this day, and a lot of people know me from the music industry in Atlanta. And I said, you know what? Let me figure out a solution how I can bridge the gap between music and blockchain. And that's how I
Interesting
started.
combination.
Yep, and that's how I came up with the company Dreamster. And we built a NFT marketplace first, which is a marketplace and a social network for anybody to come in and create an NFT to any creation that you build. So whether you're creating a photography picture, whether you're designing art, whether you're creating music, whether you're creating any type of real world asset, you can assign a digital token to represent that you own that item. And that item gets stamped in. You stamp in that you are the owner of this item. That gets stamped in on the blockchain. And so we created this marketplace back in 2021. We still have the NFT marketplace, but we didn't push it forward because everybody was still uneducated. Nobody was really educated around what an NFT is. And
yeah,
how
there's
the
definitely,
NFT
I think, a
works.
lot more, not to say skepticism, but uncertainty, I'll use the word, around NFTs versus the traditional cryptos, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, even the Dogecoins and things like that. People, I think, have a little bit of a better understanding of those than the NFTs.
Yeah, and to put it simple, an NFT is basically a contract that sits on the blockchain to prove that you're the owner of whatever item that you created, or whatever unique item it is that you are trying to represent ownership of. And we were trying to put it and make it as easy as possible. We were trying to make it as easy as possible for for individuals to learn about the industry, the
Yeah.
market. But it took a little time, and of course, back in 2017, 2021, there were a lot of skepticism about different platforms and crypto tokens and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it took a minute, and so now we went back to the drawing board, and we created the music platform. So now we've got it where individuals can upload music for free, and now they can come into the platform and build a whole community within itself, and they can build a connection with their fans, which is then we call it backstage pass. So yep.
Interesting. So what is your thoughts now, sticking to the crypto for a second? Obviously you've researched it pretty good. I've done my homework on it, like I said, mostly on the coin side. What are your thoughts on the next 5-10 years of cryptos?
The next 5, 10 years of the crypto industry will be great. Of course, it will change dramatically because of artificial intelligence and machine learning. But of course,
In a
everybody
good way
would
or bad way?
in a good way. Yeah, definitely in a good way. With AI is right now is it's actually very centralized. So every company that utilizes AI is actually being taught by humans, right? So we actually are inputting the data that is being output, by these computers and these components. For example, ChatGPT. Everything that ChatGPT spits out that's something that we have trained these machines on ourselves. And so even AI is going to go from centralized to decentralized, meaning the data is no longer going to come from us as humans. And so it's gonna come from real Internet of Things. So for example, if you're wearing a smart watch, that data we're no longer going to be the ones actually teaching these AI machines. These AI machines they're gonna the technology is already here. It's gonna pull from your Apple Watch, or it's gonna pull from a some type of satellite here that's going to tell you everything, the temperature or of the weather outside, or that's going to tell you, hey, what's going on, within the stock market. But we're no longer going to be inputting this data, and these machines are going to actually be teaching it. They're going to be teaching themselves, and so that's going to be decentralized artificial intelligence is going to take
Correct.
over. So, but in a good way for cryptocurrency, because a lot of these tokens and a lot of these companies that created crypto tokens, a lot of people will understand the use case. Now you have to utilize these tokens. A lot of people don't understand, like, these tokens were created for a purpose. Of course they're being traded on cryptocurrency exchanges, but they're not stocks, right?
Correct.
And when you buy a stock, you can't do anything with it. It's just something that you own and sit on because you're a shareholder. But when you utilize when you buy these crypto tokens, you can actually use these tokens to do business with these particular companies. And so, same thing for us. We have our own crypto token, and you can utilize the Dreamster token within the crypto ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so, I think the company tokens will become more certified, more verified, more not talking about the meme tokens, but just the companies that built real utility tokens to use within the platform.
Yeah.
So I think these tokens will become more relevant because people will actually utilize these platforms more, and the industry is just gonna it's just gonna become more massive because people are gonna start believing in cryptocurrency. Of course, you see what's going on with the economy. Everybody's, kind of skeptical about where to put their money, investments. Like, hey man, do I put my money in, stocks and bonds? Do I put my money in real estate? Do I put my money in gold? Everybody, is kind of skeptical. So So
Yeah.
the most solid thing right now is Bitcoin cryptocurrency. It hasn't been hacked, since its infancy, and it's just the use case is solid, and yeah, I think cryptocurrency will definitely be the way to go.
I think there's definitely the stigma though around it, and who knows how long it's going to last. And even if you listen to any podcasts or anything on it, how it's obviously a high risk, high reward, grouping right now. And you do see fluctuations. I mean, you've seen them the past few years. Even like a Bitcoin's gone up probably 4 or 5-fold, in a 4 or 5 year period, but then it'll go down, 40% in 3 months, and then just a rebound. So you definitely have to have a stomach for it. But if you do, you can definitely reap the rewards.
Yeah, if you got to understand, what cryptocurrency is.
Right.
The technology behind it, which is when an individual purchases a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency token, every transaction is verifiable. So since 2009, you can verify every transaction, right? You can actually go to blockchain.com and you can verify every transaction from 2009.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand what that is. Yep.
Well, there's also the concept of, and again, I'm a believer in it, so I'll start by saying that. So this isn't me. It's just for discussion purposes. But talking to people, it's like this was a human-created thing, as opposed to gold, as opposed to tangible cash, which is released by the Treasury. This is something on how is it worth so much? In theory, it's not real. But then when you hear governments buying it, and you hear all these big brokerage houses buying it and putting into their funds, and then you talk about, and you hear about people saying, well, the market cap might exceed gold, in the next however many years. It's hard not to take it seriously as something that's not going away. Yeah.
So when you say it's a human created thing, if you look at a dollar bill is a human created thing. We put
correct.
value. Yeah, we put value behind a dollar bill, right? If you go to, I think it's Argentina. If you go to Argentina right now, their currency is laying on the ground.
Yeah.
You can walk over there, you can see their currency on the ground because it has no value anymore. And their government has completely shifted over to cryptocurrency and the blockchain. Yeah, so we create and we put value as humans, we put value behind everything that we, same thing for gold. We say, hey man, we think this is a scarce item. We're going to put value in it. We're like, hey man, it's only so much gold here. Same thing for cryptocurrency. Like Bitcoin is very scarce, and so it was created as a medium of exchange, but it's a scarce item. There are only 21 million Bitcoins that were created, right?
And not even all of them are out in the market right now.
Nah, they're not all in the market, and they're still, I think about let me see, probably about 1,000 plus Bitcoins that need to be mined.
Oh, it's only 1,000? I thought it was more than that. It's down to 1,000 now?
We had about 19,000 plus. We had about 19,000.
19 million.
I'm sorry, 19 million plus.
So you had a million or two left. That's what I thought,
a million left. Yeah,
okay.
And so we're very close, right? We're very close to it being at full supply, and that's what everybody's banking on, right? So it's only 21 million Bitcoins. They're more than it's 21 million people, sitting right here in the U.S. and everybody's saying like, what? I at least need to own one.
Yeah.
And so,
well, that's the funny thing is when you see projections, you can see someone projecting in the next 5 years a Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million, and someone else is like, well, we're lucky if it hits 100K. And right now it's at what, high 60s or whatever. So the range on the growth potential of these things, I think, is also what people look at and say all the experts are not even remotely close on what this thing can become.
Yeah, man. Like I said, a lot of people don't understand that. Like I said, it was created first as a medium of exchange, right? Just like cash, and it overnight it kind of turned into an opportunity to let's let's use this as an investment tool.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, but that's why you got the Bitcoin pizza day, right? You know, the guy, went and purchased, some pizza with I
Yep.
think like 69 Bitcoins,
Yeah,
or
that's right. Yeah.
it was something crazy,
Right. It turned out to be
He
like a
he
$50 million pizza.
yeah, he never expected, because that was the purpose, right? Everybody was like, hey, this is the next medium of exchange. This is this next digital
Yeah.
cash. And so nobody was saying, hey, man, this is going to be the next thing to invest in.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so, you just have to learn more about the industry, learn more about the technology, learn more about, everything that's going on in the industry with cryptocurrency, and
Hmm.
uh, the technology and cryptography, and
Yeah.
encrypted networks, and quantum computers. I'll mention that as well, because that's probably the biggest threat to the industry.
Yeah. It's the stuff. It's scary when you think about the evolution of all that, because you mentioned, AI, and that's scary to people.
Yeah.
And where I can, and we've seen samples of it where I can go to ChatGPT and I can have something written for me. I can, I can copy and paste, a seventh grade essay, and they can make it sound
Yeah.
like I have, masters in English literature. By the way, they can make my
Yeah.
content just look like, so amazing, and it's scary.
Man, the technology has been around for a long time,
Yeah,
and it's just now becoming available to the public.
correct. Yeah,
So, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I can do this." But the technology it's been here, it's been
right.
here, man, since the movie Terminator was out back in the 80s. And so, we've
Well, you know what
had,
they say, with power comes responsibility. So now that we
yeah,
all have this power and we have this access, it's like, what are we going to do with it?
right. Yeah. And we're definitely going to have to regulate the technology and regulate the industry in some capacity. Uh, Especially now, I'm connected to a lot of people on LinkedIn, and I'm connected to a professor at one of the universities in California,
Yeah,
and he's actually been called into some of the in some of the government offices, even at the White House, to sit down with the government regulators, and figure out what do we need to do in order to help put
yeah,
parameters around this technology, man, before it gets out of hand. So yeah.
yeah. And listen, everyone's concerned. Not only now back to the crypto technology,
Mhm.
obviously, you're talking to a accounting firm right now. So, and I
Okay.
do taxes. If you look at a 1040 tax return, which is the return that we all file, there's
Yep.
only one question on the first page of the return. Everything else is numerical, name and address. You know what that one question is?
Um, Full name?
It's asking if you hold any crypto.
Oh yeah, oh
After
yeah,
name,
now they get
address, social security
now they
number,
get
before the number start, there's one line about crypto.
yep.
That's how big this is. They want it flagged right on page one. Are you involved in this?
Yes, indeed. And I think it's smart for anybody who's in crypto to go ahead and report what you're doing. Especially if you're using certain applications, because certain applications, that even that we provide, we have to report to certain governments. We have to report, hey, how much crypto was sent out, how much was paid to this particular individual. So we have to send these reports to
Yeah,
these government entities, and
yeah,
so yeah. So I tell everybody, man, make sure you are keeping track of especially when you're trying to off ramp, basically sell your crypto and send it to your bank account.
yeah.
Most entities have to send those reports in to the regulators and to the
Right.
tax services. Yep.
Now, if you have it through someone like a Robinhood or something like that, they're obviously issuing you a 1099, similar to what they would do with your regular other investment holdings. So for
Yes,
that,
indeed.
it's easy. You get that report. It's the same thing the IRS gets. You just pick up the
Yep.
numbers from it. It's I
Yep.
think the people that own it independently in certain wallets and so forth like that. That's where I think the IRS is going to focus on regulations on, because those are the areas that could be more abused.
Right. And it's kind of tricky, because now we're kind of we're talking about the thin line between centralization and decentralization, right?
Correct. You're
And
right.
so, and I think that's something that the government doesn't like, because it's almost like if I put a car for sale on Craigslist, which is a peer-to-peer, platform, peer-to-peer transaction platform, the government is trying to come in and say, okay, if I sell this car to you, how can we have our hand involved to regulate this transaction?
Yeah.
And so it's the same way with cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And if we do a peer-to-peer transaction, and I either buy crypto directly from you or sell crypto to you, we have to report this to to any tax agency.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
You're seeing it now, though, with StubHub and eBay and things like that, where, I have season tickets to a basketball team, and I sell 10 of my games because I can't go to, 40 games a year. That now gets reported to them. I now get a statement. So they want to know, okay,
right,
this is what I sold them for. Yeah.
right, yeah. So anything that you are generating revenue on,
Yeah.
they want to make sure, man, hey, you got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. That's right. That's kind of the,
Capital gains.
and I don't say this on all my podcasts because obviously we talk about different things, but I need to say it now. No, anyone listening, this is not any financial advice or anything like that. This is just two guys just talking. So
Right.
please take this all as
Definitely.
just entertainment and informational only. So
This is not financial advice.
correct. Yeah, I love listening to those TikToks. I'm a financial advisor, but this is not financial advice. Invest now in a Roth IRA. I'm like, what? Hello? What do you? It actually sounds exactly like financial advice.
Man.
Yeah, but so it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
So
I hear it all the time. Some of the top 5 cryptocurrencies to buy, I hear
yeah,
it all the
exactly.
time.
Yeah, so I'm writing it down right now. Tell me, if I have $10,000, what do I want to pay?
Right,
Exactly. I'm not asking those questions. How do you see in a perfect world the next 5 years of Dreamster? Like, how would you like to see your company evolve? Over the next, just say 5 to 10.
Over the next 5 years, I think we're going to be solving a lot of the problems. We're going to be solving the problems for musicians and producers, writers, for them being able to generate revenue. And so, whether of course, we're focusing on them being able to generate and sell their music, but the key for us is to help bridge that gap between musicians and their fans and their music lovers. And so we're bridging that gap for them to be able to connect with their fans, to be able to have access to their fans, to be able to take their community with them wherever they go, and just to just give opportunities to fans like never before.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you've been to a concert. When you go to a concert, certain people are invited backstage. Everybody like, man, I wish I could go backstage.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of musicians and artists back in the day, and I just wonder, like, man, like, I wonder what's going on. How was it backstage?
Yeah.
Sometimes we see videos of people going backstage and them being able to go and just have the interaction with the artist. But we're creating that. We're building that. So for the next 5 years, we see the platform evolving into a household brand name, and
Good.
we just want to be one of those main companies that continue to create that connection, that solution where where fans come and they can get involved with the musician, they can generate revenue, artists can generate revenue, and in a revolutionary way, and yeah, just be that next platform to get involved in.
Awesome. Last question, because then we got to get going here. Talk to me
Yep.
briefly about Hard Wallet Organizer, your book.
Yeah, so I created Heart Wallet Organizer back in 2019. I can't remember what year I wrote it, but basically it's just a hard copy book that you write down crypto security keys. So whenever you download a cryptographic wallet, whenever you download or sign up for a cryptocurrency exchange or two-factor authentication, they're going to give you private security keys. They're going to give
Yeah.
you just private keys and codes to write down. So just in
Yeah.
case when you lose your phone, when you lose your your security keys or passcodes, you can actually access it by writing down and by tapping into your hard wallet, your notebook. And so I tell a lot of people, never store these security keys on your device. Never store them online. Never store them on the phone. Don't screenshot this stuff. Just write it down. And so it was just a simple solution to a major problem. A lot of people were getting hacked. They had millions of dollars in cryptocurrency stored. People that own cryptocurrency exchanges. I think one guy passed away in Canada, and nobody could access the customer funds. It was like over $500-600 million in funds nobody could access because they didn't know where to find this cryptographic security keys. And so this was something I felt like that needed to be created.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense. All right, how can people find you and your companies online, and so forth?
You can find me as a business owner. You can find me on LinkedIn just by typing in the name Mario Butler. It'll pop up Mario Butler Chapman, and then you can find the company at Dreamster.io. And so we have quite a few things going on right now. We're gonna be airdropping the Dreamster token. Once the Dreamster wallet gets available on Apple and Android, that should be available next week. And you can download the Dreamster wallet. Once you download the wallet, you'll get airdropped the Dreamster tokens, and you can just get involved, man. The platform is going to be going live within a month from now. I'll give it a month, but it may be sooner.
Sure.
But we'll be completely live. We already have one application running on Apple and Android. That's the Dreamster Crypto Exchange. So if it's on Apple and Android, you can type it in, just Dreamster. It'll pop up in your iPhone, and we can go from there.
All right, awesome. Well, sounds like a lot of good stuff going on. Your mind looks like you're one of those people where your mind's always working. So that's a key to success. So I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On-Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.